On the hotline, a two-time Super Bowl champion, started at tackle on that Super Bowl 40 team, played guard as well, was a very versatile player, Mike Tomlin's kind of player, the more you can do. Very smart guy, too. We're happy anytime we can get him on the show. Perfect time to do it with the Steelers making moves on the offensive line. The trade last night. Trey Essex back with us here on 93.7 The Fan. All right, Trey, let's talk about the Kevin Dotson deal. What did you make of it?
You can kind of see the writing on the wall a little bit. He was the odd man out when they brought over Samola from Philly. And he's been playing well. He's done nothing but prove Omar and Tomlin right by going out and getting him in free agency. And so, hey, Dotson has been he started out hot his rookie year, really showed some promise, and kind of just tapered off and had been in and out of the doghouse with Coach Tomlin. So you knew that he was either going to get released, he was on the fringe line, and it was fortunate for the Steelers they got something back in a trade partner with L.A. And I think that's going to be a good start for him to get a new start out on a line that really needs some help on offensive line with the Rams. But you kind of saw that one coming.
Trey, what about the other guard that's getting talked about a lot, backup guard that's getting talked about a lot, Kendrick Greene? This seems like it may be another sort of stay of execution. People thought he was going to be gone here and a roster cut. What have you seen or not seen from him?
Well, the fact that he can snap the ball and he has experience does give him value. He started a whole year. And like you started out this segment, the more you can do is what Tomlin loves, guys that can do more that are position flexible. And he's shown that. And actually, you know, with him getting some fullback time, some H-back time, that's really improved his stock. So they know at least that he can snap the ball. If he's called upon, he can play some guard, and he also can work some in some unique packages in the goal line or whatnot. And so I think that's where his value lies. He still has a lot of room to improve as far as technique when it comes to guard play, center, actually. His line play has left a lot to be desired this preseason. You know, he played below the line against Tampa a couple of weeks ago, and I thought he improved this time against Atlanta a lot. So I think that was actually probably what convinced the coaches to keep him on board outside of his position flexibility, is to see that he's at least working hard on improving his game.
Trey, after he snaps the ball, though, can he block the guy that's in front of him? And just watching these preseason games, getting the ball to the quarterback isn't even a given because he's had a couple of snaps. So just because he played the position to me doesn't mean he has flexibility. If he's not good at the position, what does it matter that he's played center before?
He's shown flashes. I mean, yes, it's kind of important to snap the ball and then block the person in front of you. That's kind of your job description when you're playing center and guard, and that's especially important in this offense with a second-year quarterback and how we want to run the ball. So, yes, like I said, he leaves a lot to be desired up front, but I think the fact that he was playing fullback and they got to see him do some good things in the backfield, even though we have a lot of guys that can play that type of position. But I think if he does make the roster, it's still not a for sure thing if he does make it. But if he does, it's because he has the experience snapping the ball.
Trey, what have you made? This has been another big subplot with this O-line. They trade up. They draft Broderick Jones. I was crowing that this guy would be the greatest left tackle in franchise history. I still have a lot of belief in him, but he hasn't unseated Dan Moore. You think Steelers fans should be concerned at all by that?
No. I think Steelers should be excited about that because that gives you 6 starting capable linemen on your team right now. I think Broderick is going to be a great tackle, like you mentioned. He's improved each and every game. He's he's a great athlete for the left tackle position. But you got to love the way that Dan Moore came in and fought for his position and how he's performed up to this point. He's gotten a lot of flack at the beginning of last year, especially. It started to die off because his name wasn't getting called as much towards the end of last year as far as penalties or giving up sacks, which is a good thing when your name's not being said as an offensive lineman. And so I thought he ended last year on a high note, and some things that he needed to work on, lower body strength, his punch at the point of attack, he's improved on tremendously. And I think Steelers fans should be excited that we have that type of quality on our offensive line, and especially at left tackle, and improved Dan Moore Jr. and then a stud like Broderick.
So when do we see Broderick Jones then, Trey?
Well, if our offensive coordinator is creative. I can definitely see a lot of six-man rotation. Our six offensive linemen, especially since we're going against a murderer's row of defensive ends these first 3 weeks. 49ers can sign Bosa, and then we got Kendrick Jones and then Max Crosby with the Raiders. I can envision us employing 6 offensive linemen at one point or another. But it does give us injury flexibility in case somebody gets hurt. You saw Dan Moore get some snaps at right tackle, so that's good that he has a position, the flexibility to go both sides. I haven't really seen Broderick play right tackle at all, so I think they have him shoot in as a left tackle, and as he improves, maybe it is his position, ends up being his position. But
if you're Chooks watching that game on Thursday and that substitution, how would that make you feel? Like, hey, we want to see what this looks like. Jones at left tackle and Moore at right tackle.
I think that just I think that's more an indictment on what they want to do. They got to have a swing tackle. They can't just have 2 left tackles. So I don't think Chooks is really worried about his position being taken. They just want to see who has the best chance of being the swing tackle on game day.
Trey, how much is the offensive line continuing to kind of build off of last season going to influence the kind of season Kenny Pickett's going to be able to have?
It's the most influential position that needs to improve and keep on improving if Kenny wants to have the type of year that he wants to have. If our offense wants to go anywhere, and the bar is pretty low because I think we all know that our offense was not performing as it should have, but we have way too much talent at the skill positions to not be an explosive offense, and we saw shades of that this preseason. And so if the offensive line continues to improve like they did towards the end of last year, and we can get that run game going like it's been showing that it can do with both Najee and Warren, and then even finally seeing McFarland get after it a little bit in this last game, and so that was good to see. But our team will go as the offensive line goes, and from the looks of it, they're still improving. So it's reason to be very optimistic about our offense this year.
Hey Trey, who would be the easier guy to block for? And I know it's different blocking for any running back, but of Warren and Harris, who's the easier guy to set up blocks for and to block in front of?
So, as an offensive lineman, I like running backs that go where the play is supposed to go. And Najee, oftentimes, he improved upon it, especially the last year. He tried to take too much upon himself. He would predetermine where he was going with the ball, and it made the offensive line look worse than what they were doing last year because he would sometimes improvise and try to take too much of his shoulder. He would cut back a play to the right that was supposed to go left. He would go straight when he was supposed to go right. And so that's frustrating as an offensive lineman. But as he got healthier and as the O-lineman started to build that chemistry and he started to trust the O-lineman to open up the holes where the plays were supposed to go, he started following his blockers. So to answer your question, Warren never had an issue doing that at all last year. You saw some of the big plays that he had last year. He was more consistent. He got the yards where there were yards to get. And so he rarely bounced plays or cut them back unless the flow of the play called for it. And so as an offensive line, you'd like that better. But if Najee continues to do what he did towards the end of last year, and he trusts his line, which I think he does, I think it's going to be fun to block for either one of those guys.
Trey, I don't know if we'll talk to you again before the season starts. Right now, what's your Steelers season prediction?
I think we can pull off 10 games at least. The schedule is tough to start, like I said, and it's really going to set the tone for the rest of the year. But I see us being a playoff team, especially with how great that defense looks like it's going to be this year. It's all going to be health dependent, but we're a lot deeper than we have been in years, especially on the D-line. I see a lot. I know everybody's excited, and we are the black horse or the darling to really cause some ruckus in the AFC, where Kansas City has ruled this last. Kansas City, everybody's in Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati like they have the last 2-3 years. But I think we can mix it up a little bit and really compete for the division this year.
All right, Trey Essex, Steelers 2-time Super Bowl champion there, painting an optimistic picture with the offensive line and much more. Thank you, Trey. We appreciate it, man.
No problem. Have a good one.
You too.